ILO return to Gaza. What's the end game, sir?
I don't think this is the Israeli plan. I think the original Israel is not attacking Hamas only. Israel is attacking the whole population of Gaza. They are annihilating the population of the north and the center of the Gaza at this moment. 3,472 Palestinians have been killed so far, including no less than 1,300 children. And in my opinion, the Israeli original plan was to ethnically cleanse all of Gaza, force people out of Gaza to Egypt, and then to annex Gaza. Netanyahu did not hide that. He showed the world the map of Israel in the United Nations, which included all of the West Bank and all of Gaza. And if he had succeeded in ethnically cleanse Gaza, he would move to the West Bank and try to ethnically cleanse it too. That's what Jordan understood, and that's what Egypt understood. Now that Egypt stood very strong against this plan, he's moving to plan B, which is evicting and ethnically cleansing the north and center of Gaza. That's what's happening now, today. 1.1 million people have been forced out of their homes. 76,000 houses have already been destroyed by Israeli airstrikes. Israel says that they have the right to respond. Okay, they responded. 3,472 Palestinians have been killed. How many more thousands of Palestinians should be killed? I think the immediate need now, Vicky, for the sake of Palestinians and Israelis, is ceasefire. We need immediate ceasefire to stop this atrocity, this collective punishment, also for the sake of Israeli prisoners, which Netanyahu bombards and kills. Already 22 Israeli prisoners.
And that is a conversation that we, the conversation about a ceasefire is one we know is going on behind the scenes. On these diplomatic tracks, we know that Qatar mediating between Hamas, the US, and Israel on trying to get the release of these hostages says that they need to see a temporary ceasefire at least in order to effect some movement on that. It seems that Israel is resistant to that temporary ceasefire at this point. Is there any one country at this point? Is there any single individual or country who can be the voice of reason now, do you believe, between all parties?
I don't know if there is a person who can be accepted as a mediator between all parties. Maybe Guterres can play that role, but I don't think he has the sufficient strength to do so. But I think the one person who could stop all these atrocities immediately is President Biden. But to do that, he has to stop saying that he's teaming up with the Israelis and calls them our team. He cannot be on the team of one side while one side is committing war crimes against the other. He has to take a different position, and that's why I think the United States must immediately change its position and allow the passage of a resolution in the Security Council to have immediate ceasefire. There is one country in the world that has leverage over Israel and can stop these atrocities for the sake of Palestinians and Israelis, and that is the United States of America.
Mustafa Barghouti, it's good to have you on, joining us today from Ramallah in the West Bank, where sadly over this past 11, 12 days we have seen significant uptick in violence there, demonstrations on the streets in support of the Palestinian people, reminding the world that the plight of the Palestinian people should not be overlooked. Well, there is a glimmer of hope in Gaza that desperately needed humanitarian aid could start coming in. Israel said it will allow some aid to come from Egypt following yesterday's trip by US President Joe Biden to Tel Aviv, while Egypt promised to allow at least 20 aid trucks to cross the border, according to Mr. Biden. Aid has been piling up in Egypt, as we know, for days, but it's been unable to get into Gaza through that border crossing.
Standing strong.
This is where international aid should be flowing into Gaza. But it's been eerily quiet. Vital, life-sustaining humanitarian aid has been piling up, stuck in no man's land on the wrong side of the border, while agencies sound the alarm on an accelerating humanitarian crisis. Now there are signs of a breakthrough. On Wednesday, hours after a deadly blast at a hospital in Gaza, US President Joe Biden landed on his wartime visit to Israel. Hours later, he delivered these remarks.
I asked the Israeli cabinet, who I met with for some time this morning, to agree to the delivery of life-saving humanitarian assistance to civilians in Gaza, based on the understanding that there will be inspections and that the aid should go to civilians, not to Hamas. Israel agreed the humanitarian assistance can begin to move from Egypt to Gaza.
But in a statement Wednesday, Israel said it will not allow any aid into Gaza from its own territory until all hostages held by Hamas are released. Following the announcement, I asked the Jordanian foreign minister for his reaction.
We're all working for a ceasefire that would allow the delivery of humanitarian supplies to Gaza. So talk of ceasefire is continuing. Talk of allowing supplies is continuing. Talk of a decision to end the war is continuing. So we're all working towards that, and any step in that direction is definitely a welcome step.
President Biden now says he is working with the UN to get aid trucks moving as quickly as possible. But even when that flow of aid can begin, its route has been badly damaged by Israeli airstrikes.
Well, currently there's a miles-long convoy of humanitarian assistance between Arish and Rafah with trucks on the side of the road awaiting the possibility of entering Gaza. The Rafah crossing over the last days has been bombed 4 times.
There's a lot of infrastructure that has been destroyed. Obviously, the lack of fuel, the lack of water, the lack of food is going to compound the situation. The difficulties with moving around due to security, but also just to blockages from rubble, etc., and unexploded munitions.
For Gaza's citizens, the deadly waiting game means lifelines are fast running out. The Palestinian Health Ministry says hospitals are collapsing without fuel. And the World Food Programme warns that shops in Gaza will run out of food in mere days.
There is no water. There is no water at all. Medicines for children, food, drinking. There are no supplies at all in the Gaza Strip. It's not just me. All of the Gaza Strip is suffering. All of the families in Gaza are suffering.
Well, a day after US President Joe Biden visited Israel, British Prime Minister Rishi Sunak is the latest Western ally to travel to Israel to show support. The Prime Minister expected to meet with both the President and Prime Minister of Israel, according to his official X account. Mr. Sunak also hopes to meet with the leaders of the wider region, in inverted commas, during his visit. Well, rather than a chaotic rampage, Hamas killers were carrying out a detailed plan. Maps and other materials found on dead Hamas fighters show the killers in Israel knew exactly where to go, in shocking detail. CNN investigates that. Coming up.
Is a ceasefire what is needed now? A song by Paul Beckman, Polly Rainbow Song. Also the new and first leader of humankind in the free world. Created October 19th, 2023. Is what's needed a ceasefire? 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 Well, hey, it's time to consider something. It's time to consider something. Time to consider something. Time to consider something. Has Netanyahu really been doing what he's been talking about? Is it more of an ethnic cleansing he's been wanting to do, that he's been able to do about? Well, so many displaced, so many wounded. Well, so many dead. Well, what's the potential if they don't die from bombing or from running or being dislocated? How many Palestinians will die of starvation or something? Even though the borders might open in Egypt to get in supplies and food and water, it's only going to be a fraction compared to what is needed. It's only fodder. Well, what he is saying, should it be considered and looked at? Should there be a ceasefire of what Israel is doing as they turn the city portion they're taken down into a big parking lot? Well, something to consider. Should we give it some thought? Again, that song is by Paul Beckman, Paul the Rainbow Song, also the new and first leader of humankind in the free world. Go to Internet Solutions and Songs 24-7 at Palu Rainbow Song bio on YouTube. Look for a playlist, music song reviews by Palu. Look for videos and song videos that say a special note. God bless. By the way, if you go there, that'll be an explanation of my mainstream name, my New Age name, and when I utter, also by the new and first leader of humankind in the free world, plus an explanation of much more. Apologies if I've been moaning or groaning throughout this video. I'm still trying to heal diverticulitis I've now been diagnosed with recently. Oh.